So, in true Josh fashion, I've done a little bit of a shift halfway through the semester in regards to my digital artifact. It's not a full shift, we're not like pivoting into something new completely, unlike every other time I've done a BCM digital artifact. Um, I'm just sort of expanding the scope. To recap, my initial pitch was a podcast miniseries which I would co-write, co-produce, and co-star in with Alison Gillespie, my friend and human being, and uh, BCM student. This is Alison. She's very smart. You've probably seen her tweeting about movies. She's really cool. Um, the podcast itself would be set in a post apocalypse and track two survivors on opposite sides of the world who are communicating via ham radio as they try to figure out what this apocalypse is that's destroyed the world. Are there other people out there? Can they rebuild society? All that sort of thing. I really like the idea of it. I like the idea of writing some fiction for BCM. I like the idea of all these sort of like hypothetical apocalypses. I like the way it engages with the future. Alison and I thus far have managed to write this. Obviously, that's not enough for a full episode. We're working on it. We're working on it. We'll get there. Uh, yeah. In the meantime, our initial timeline has been shot to hell, so we're kind of like rethinking where the goals are at. Um, but I am also sort of rethinking my entire digital artifact because of this assessment that Chris had us do in class. I couldn't find my profile exactly on here, so whatever, but it made me think about the fact that we were making this podcast because Alison and I both wanted some content that we could show as part of a portfolio of broader work as we moved out into the world. I, after university, want to become a multi hyphenate writer. I want to write criticism of various sorts. This is my portfolio website where you can see all the different things that I do. I'm a staff writer at Film Days where I write TV and film criticism. I also do broader cultural criticism in a freelance capacity, as you can kind of see here with like stuff that I've had published this semester. Um, I also run a fine arts literature blog with my friend and partial human being Lily Dalby, who is not a part of the subject but is super cool. Um, in addition to all of these, I also do some fiction writing, and I have a short story in the pipeline at the moment, soon to get published. I also write theatre. I've had a play put on as part of the short and sweet competition, and now I'm trying to find a home for it, as you can sort of see here. Um, so this podcast was obviously meant to slot into my broader portfolio of work. Hello again, this lovely website. Um, and I'm sort of reshaping my digital artifact to be less about the one podcast and more about the portfolio as a whole and my 5 year goal of being a cultural critic in some capacity. There's so many goals, scopes, and timelines and research that I need to get into. That's all going to be in the essay because I quite frankly can't get into it all now. Um, yeah, this is it. The essay will have a lot more of the information. Catch you in week 13 with the final presentation.